There's been new information leaked on the International Olympic Committee's new regulations for trans competitors. And the IOC has been debating this for months now. And I want to discuss it because this would basically make it impossible for trans women to compete in the Olympics unless they've started their transition before puberty. And I know there are not a lot of trans athletes, but this is part of a bigger picture. So let's talk about this. This is from Al Jazeera News. It says global sports leaders have reached consensus on a new set of eligibility criteria for trans athletes, with the new policy expected to be announced within the first half of this year, the IOC said on Saturday. It would be the first uniform policy adopted by the IOC and international sports federations, applying to major events in dozens of sports, including the Games and World Championships. Currently, federations have their own rules, which can vary. Details of the new policy are unclear, but it is expected to severely restrict the participation of transgender athletes who compete in women's categories if they have undergone full male puberty before any subsequent medical transition. It has been out to consultation phase, and we had the pause and reflect period on it. This was a quote from someone from the IOC. Generally speaking, there is consensus within the sporting movement. I think you will have a new policy in the first half of the year. Don't hold me to it, but that is roughly the timescale. So, in the United States, currently, Republicans are banning gender-affirming care for minors. But you can't qualify for the Olympics unless you started your transition before 12, 13 years of age. So this means that all children should know their gender identity by age 12. Even though the Republican argument is that anyone under 18 should never transition because children aren't able to make decisions for themselves. So they're contradicting themselves. They're saying someone under 18 can't possibly know their gender identity, but if you want to transition genders, you got to do it before age 12 if you want to be an athlete. So statistically, according to Transilliance, which is a research team at Michigan State University, most transgender people don't transition on average until they're 27 to 30 years of age. Although obviously it can happen at any age. For me, I was in my early 30s. And several other sources reported similar ages to this. So that's pretty good statistics on that. These politicians have no fucking idea what they are doing when it comes to transgender people in America. And some of them are doing intentional harm, intentional damage. We need to demand better. We need to have better representation in government. We've gotten a few new trans politicians over the last couple years, but we're still very underrepresented in government. Having trans politicians can ensure that legislation surrounding our community is done with respect, with truth, and with care. But that's a long-term plan, and right now we are in the short term, and we need resistance through protests, through spreading awareness, and we can't talk about sports games until we address the larger issue here, which is that as trans people, we are facing an attempt of genocide against transgender Americans by Republicans in government. There are plenty of studies out there that show that trans women are comparable to cis women athletically. I've made several videos about this, and are actually physically disadvantaged in many ways. But these findings and reports are being suppressed because they don't fit Republicans' narrative. They refuse to listen to their own community on the issue and just go full speed ahead with their bans on trans people anyway. And as a result, now we're seeing a lot of community backlash about this. But is this a genocide? Is it religious cultism? Personally, I think it's both. I think this is a mental illness. It's a sickness in America that's taken over our government and our country. These are genocidal, white supremacist, religious cultists. And that's only 25% of America. What is the other 75% of America supposed to do? We're not in cults. They don't care about the success of our country. They don't care about the safety of Americans. They don't care about family values. They don't care about safety of children. All they care about is making the world perfect according to their binary views. But the world is not binary. We know this. Gender is not binary. Thank you for listening. Please like this, share it, leave your comments, subscribe if you want to stay updated on important news, and I'll be back very soon. Bye.